All right, Justin Herbert got his revenge against the quarterback that was drafted one spot ahead of him last night. Remember when everybody was on the Dolphins bandwagon and were saying Tua for MVP?
Who wasn't saying that, DeMonte?
You and
Who?
you.
Yeah, I was. Not everyone was on the Dolphins bandwagon, but who reserved the right to never change their opinion about Tua? But go ahead.
I didn't see the reasoning behind that. I feel like you didn't have that much evidence to.
I had. You know why you think I don't have that much evidence? And I don't say this rudely or disrespectfully.
Because I just started watching football
this year. Exactly right.
Okay.
Because if you'd only watched football this year, you'd think Tua was awesome.
Fair
and you
enough.
were, and I'm not taking a shot, but before you got this job, you weren't a big NFL guy. What is so vexing to me, so many of my colleagues pretended they had just started watching football this year. Colleagues in sports media, a pro tip on when it comes to certain things, you want to be more like DeMonte. But on other things, you definitely want to be less like DeMonte. And your long-term NFL analysis, probably less like DeMonte, but go ahead.
All right, when he faced off against the second best quarterback in football, he reminded us why Miami tried to move on from the guy.
Yeah.
So even if it makes you a villain, are you willing to say Tua is no better than a backup quarterback?
Okay, no. So that's where I was wrong in that I said Tua's a backup. Tua's clearly not a backup. He is clearly simply a middling starter. And I said yesterday on Twitter that everyone, I think, knows that Tua is, by the way, I love the fit today, Tua is far closer to the Derek Carr tier of quarterbacks than the Justin Herbert tier of quarterbacks.
Okay.
Yet folks tried to pretend otherwise because he has a nice win-loss record prior to this year, and people love them some quarterback wins. And because the other reason is this year his numbers were sensational. But yesterday was one of the worst quarterback performances of the season.
Yeah, I was about to say, has that, because what was it? Was the final, was it 4 for 20? That was the end?
Well, no,
it
ended better because once the Chargers went up 10 or went up 9, they were improving on that final drive where Miami ended up getting a field goal. So we finished 10 for 28. But my guy started 3 for 17. That's a bad shooting night in the NBA.
Right.
That should never happen with a quarterback. Flatly should never happen with a quarterback. The Dolphins got a gift touchdown on their own fumble that bounced to Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek was super sharp and saw it and scooped it. He's the fastest man in the world. And then Tyreek beat the Chargers corner on a 60-yard bomb. Aside from that, for the first 3.5 quarters, the Dolphins offense did nothing. Nothing. And there were opportunities to be had. The Chargers were out Derwin James. They've Joseph Day. They've been without Joey Bosa. This was a very banged-up Chargers team. And what the Chargers, and to their credit, and this is where the concern is about Tua and the Dolphins and what they were doing. Much like with young quarterbacks, it's like, oh, wait till there's film on them. With an offense where everyone seems to be running wide open, there's going to be a moment where some sharp defensive mind unlocks something, and then you have to adjust. So for the Dolphins, that moment was last week. That sharp defensive mind was the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, former longtime great linebacker with the Texans, DeMeco Ryans, where he said, what if we just jam the hell out of their receivers at the line of scrimmage? Throw off their timing. Teams are afraid to do that.
Because they're so fast.
Because they're so fast. If you don't get a good jam, they're going to beat you. And even if you do get a good jam, if Tua has enough time, they're going to beat you. But what if we jam them to throw off their timing, plus try to create some pressure on Tua, so even if our guy gets beat, he doesn't have time to hit him downfield? Yes, there is a risk, like the Tyreek Hill 60-yard touchdown. But the reward, what teams had been doing is playing these guys so far off that it's like, okay, we'll just take these 12-yard gains, wide open, first read, boom, second read, boom. The Niners did that, and Tua was in shambles. So the Chargers, the question there was, though, oh, well, the Niners, that's the best defense in football.
Right.
Can someone else do it? Well, the Chargers JV defense, which is banged up, was without Derwin James, as I mentioned. Guys missing from that game left and right. They did it too. And the Dolphins offense was totally inept. Totally inept. So if you're the Dolphins, there is real level of concern now. You are 8-5. You know who the Dolphins play next week? It's the Saturday night game.
Is it the Eagles?
Nope. This is a good guess. I don't know why I threw that at you. But you were in the right vicinity. It's the Bills.
Okay.
So a Bills team that right now, a Bills team that right now is leaning heavily on its defense. So the Dolphins have the Bills. Then they have the Packers, then the Patriots, then the Jets. Bills, Patriots, Jets, defensively, are all far better than the team the Chargers trotted out there last night. Far better. And so do I think the Dolphins are going to miss the playoffs? I don't. Do I think, though, this thing could turn south on them quick? I think it already has. Because now if they finish with the same record as the Chargers, they lose that tiebreaker. When you look at the playoff seedings right now, the Dolphins are 6th at 8-5. The Chargers 7th at 7-6. With the Jets and the Patriots also having 6 losses, and the Jets and the Patriots don't play each other again this year. They both play the Bills one time, and they both play the Dolphins one time. So there is going to be an odd man out of the AFC playoffs. Let's assume Baltimore and Cincinnati are in. It would take a real collapse for either of those teams to fall out.
Okay.
Let's assume there's only one AFC South playoff team. And the reason I'm not simply assigning that to the Titans is because Prince was promised pretty good yesterday. So let's just, but it'll only be one team either way, okay?
Right.
That means there are 3 spots available for Dolphins. No, I'm sorry. I misspoke. 2 spots available for Dolphins, Chargers, Jets, Patriots. The Dolphins right now are a game up on all those teams in the loss column. We'll see what the Patriots do tonight. Could be the Dolphins are 8-5, and they're all 7-6. The Patriots lose tonight. You can't write them off in Sharpie, but it's close to it. Okay. But assuming the Patriots win, Dolphins got their work cut out for them. And by the way, the other concern was always going to be, what does this offense, Tua most notably, look like in the cold? Yesterday was in LA. So the cold was not a concern there. I got to look again. I said who they were playing, but I want to see where these games are being played for Miami. At Buffalo next week, that feels cold.
Yep.
Home for the Packers, that's fine. At the Patriots, that seems cold. And then home for the Jets. So 2 of the 4 games are in the cold. Miami, even when it's cold there, it's not cold enough to where it should affect the game. All right, now I want to talk a moment about the Chargers from last night. That game last night is why, and I'm not ready to call Herbert the second best quarterback in football. That was in the read. Right now, I think Joe Burrow has earned that distinction. But Justin Herbert is in the same conversation as Joe Burrow, as Josh Allen, as, I got to give him credit, and I think we'll get to him later, Jalen Hurts, as guys that are playing at that level. And there is a sickness going around where people in the media get so wrapped up in quarterback wins with no context, they decide not to believe what their eyes are clearly telling them, which is that Herbert is a special talent. And Herbert yesterday, finally, for the first time all year, or at least the first time since week 1, it might have been, no, I think it is all year, started and finished the game with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and the guy was out there dealing. It also should be noted, the Chargers are 7-6. They are 0-3 by a combined 12 points, so 4 points per game, against the Chiefs and the Niners. 2 losses to the Chiefs, 1 loss to the Niners. Those, in my opinion, are 2 of the 3 best teams in football. So they're 7-3 with all those injuries, so a few coaching issues against the whole league, except for my Super Bowl pick, Chiefs-Niners. Chargers are good and they're scary, and I'm telling you this right now. I, as a arrogant Chiefs fan, want nothing to do with the Chargers in the playoffs. I don't want to have to beat them a third time. So I would have rather the Dolphins won last night.
Right.
But that was, we got a right move right. I just realized on the gambling show, Chargers getting 3.5.
Yep.
Went out.
Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.